problems, worries, sadness? Are you seeking solutions?
Bible says,
Do not be anxious about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Choose faith over fear.
This is Thursday of week 1 of Advent. We've already had quite a journey up to now, and we get our first real challenge here, which is, I think, is wonderful that it's given in the first week. The first reading is from Isaiah chapter 26. I'm going to read some of it for you. That day, this song will be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. To guard us, he has set wall and rampart around us. Open the gates, let the upright nation come in, she, the faithful one, whose mind is steadfast, who keeps the peace, because she trusts in you. Trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord is an everlasting rock. He has brought down low those who lived up high in the steep citadel. He brings it down to the ground, he flings it down into the dust. The feet of the lowly, the footsteps of the poor will trample on it. I'm going to bring this into our day now. Is that okay? Because this has been fulfilled. The Lord has provided us with the church. He has provided us with the spiritual home to live in. He has hedged us around with the sacraments and the protection of the leadership in the church and all the rest of it. He feeds us with his word. He feeds us with his Eucharist. We have to go in and be church. We have actually got to be the body of Christ. We've got to live it. And so we have to be the people who allow the Lord to actually reign on earth through us. But we have to understand that if we join the high and mighty of the unbelievers, that he brings down the mighty from their thrones and he raises up the lowly. Our choice is, we either belong to the high and mighty who are the proud and the arrogant of this earth and full of themselves, or we become the little ones that are open to all his grace and glory, including his paradise and heaven. And therefore, the response that is given to this is Psalm 117. Blessed in the name of the Lord is the one who comes, the one who's going to bring us all this grace and glory and privilege and all the rest of it. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love has no end. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in men. So the very first part of this tells us that if we have already entered deeply into this, we should be full of gratitude and joy. And we need to tell others that it is actually better to take refuge in the Lord than to stay in the world. And in the second stanza here, we're told that we should turn to the Lord and say to him in Advent, open to me personally the gates of holiness. I will enter and give thanks. In other words, Advent is about preparation. It's about entering into the mystery. It's about joining the Lord at a much deeper level. So I will enter. This is the Lord's own gate. And only the just, that means those who have been redeemed, can actually go in. And I will thank you forever. And so the final stanza that's given to us here is a prayer from the church, really. O Lord, grant us salvation. Lord, grant success to this whole enterprise of your Messiah. And we bless you, Lord. So this is followed by the Gospel of Matthew in chapter 7. And here we have the choice given to us from a slightly different angle, in which we're either wise or foolish. So if you're wise, you take wise decisions. If you're foolish, okay. So Jesus said to his disciples, it's not those who say to me, Lord, Lord, who'll get into the kingdom of heaven. In other words, they say all the right things, but they're not doing anything. They're not actually allowing themselves to be redeemed by the Redeemer. And he said, listen, because there was tens of thousands of people listening to Jesus in the crowds all around Israel. He said, everyone who listens to these words of mine and acts on them, that's the choice, will be like a sensible man who built his house on a rock. So when the floods come, the house survives. But everyone who listens to these words of mine and does nothing about them has their house built on sand. And so the church has chosen this reading for us, and we're still not at the end of the first week. And the church has said to us, now, where is your house built? Your house meaning your life. Are you going on the path to heaven? Or are you going in the opposite direction? Now is the time to decide. Now is the time to change if you're on the wrong road. And so that's actually a very important thing for the church to do right at the very beginning of Advent. In other words, there's no indication at all that the church is saying tinsel and Christmas trees and presents and all the rest of it. That's all nothing. And if you got none of that at all, you'd miss nothing. Because it's not nothing to do with that. It's to do with this extraordinary transformation that the Lord wants to bring in our lives and the grace that he wants to give us, so that we ourselves will become a Bethlehem that will receive him. And the mystery can happen in us, so that the Lord can become incarnate in us, that his word can become incarnate in us. Be it done unto me according to your word is the answer that we have to give to this, and they're the words of our own mother. Let's follow her in Advent.